And maybe with the hopes that if it's not the same answer for you, that's fine. But at least the process of how I answer it might be helpful to you as well. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. So this is how I look at it. There is a difference between influence, right, and impact. The cause, right, and the calling. So we get it all mixed up, right? These terms can be so confusing in this particular moment. And I think especially for young people, right? So confusing influence and impact, or the cause and why the cause exists in the first place, which is where we should actually find that calling, right? Not in the cause, but why it exists in the first place. So take influence. What does this mean? We live in an era of the exclusive conference, right? The high-level meeting when people can literally list as their career on their business card, influencer. Or even worse, thought leader. Has anyone figured out what a thought leader is? I'm not sure what the qualifications are for that. We can tell ourselves, right, if we spoke with this really important person, right? Or if we connected with that leader, that we have made a difference somehow, right? We made the difference, especially if we then post it on Twitter with a good filter on the photo and like the perfect, pristine, like humble brag caption, right? Like we've done it. We did it. And this could not be further from the truth, right? This cannot be further from the truth because it's not wrong, right, to want to be in the room where it happens. We get that. And I think a lot of us and our students want to do important and meaningful work, and that is a good thing. But I've been lucky enough and humbled enough to be in those rooms, and the thing I always want to say to young people and students especially is that getting in that room is just the start. It is not the completion. It is not the completion. We can't confuse being in the room with having an actual impact. And it's easy to get confused when you're in those spaces, right? The challenge is your students, that they want to change the thing that make them want to be in your program, right? They're depending on complacency and complicity. That when people get in that room, they're not clear about what their job is, what they're supposed to be doing there. They can get confused very easily. Did you just give a well-delivered speech, or did you say a really tough thing in a hard moment with diplomacy? Are you more focused on your number of followers or likes than diligently counting the real numbers behind the work? And one of my favorite examples of this is actually a video a friend of mine wants to make. We're still waiting to make it. That would be if you imagine maybe somewhere in Africa in the Sahel, you're looking at like this arid expanse, and you see a plane come out, and you're like, oh, great, humanitarian response, they're delivering aid, and the camera will pan up to the plane, and then out the back of the plane there's humanitarian workers, but instead of pushing out food, they're pushing out Facebook likes. Just out the back, because that's going to solve it, right? I mean, that's a lot of, I think, the confusion right now about what makes a difference, right? It's ridiculous, right? But yet, we find ourselves thinking this way sometimes if we're not careful. We have to tell young leaders and our students that contrary to the prevailing winds of this time, the most important work won't happen in a fancy room. It just won't. It may not even happen in public at all. It will be quietly done over months or years in the face of an intractable problem. And it will usually happen when everyone else has gone home. When the office is closed, people have moved on, or simply, frankly, just given up. People need to be in it for the long haul. For us, when I was at the Malala Fund, the test was always, would it actually impact girls in developing countries? Can we measure it? Can we make sure it was actually delivered? Not just promised and committed, but actually delivered and effective and efficient, and it worked, right? Because girls in developing countries don't need another high-level event. They don't need a celebrity retweet, right? They need us to see them as equals and authentically partner in bringing them, their voices and their authentic needs to those with the ability to achieve real change. That is the work.